just because there are so many things that moms can deal with. For instance, in pregnancy, I see a lot of pelvic pain. Sometimes women call it lightning crotch because right where your pelvic bone separates there at the bottom, you have a lot of laxity in your joints because you have to create that laxity for the baby to come out. So that is a good thing, right? We have to let the baby come out, but the laxity in the joints causes a lot of pain.
Welcome to Just One Question with your host, Lion Flood. This podcast is brought to you by The Minority Report, where our goal is to inspire, educate, and empower you with cultural knowledge. We'll also have conversations dealing with social justice, mental health, and the all-around truth. So if you're bold enough to hear the truth, then you're listening to the right podcast. Let's find out what that one question is with your host, Lion Flood.
Hey, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another episode of Just One Question, the podcast where it's all about you. If it wasn't for you, I'd have no one to talk to. But as my wife tells me, I probably would like that too much. So I'm glad you are all here to listen to this. We have a great guest with us today, and excuse me as I try to pronounce this word. I've been practicing it all week because I've been pronouncing it incorrectly the entire time, so my brain might resort back to my natural way of saying it. But we have Brittany Scott, who is a Perinatal Fitness Specialist. Give her a round of applause. I got it. So Brittany, would you do us a favor and just kind of tell all of the audience members who are going to be listening to this, and even the people who are going to watch it on replay, a little bit about yourself first and kind of what your life is doing, what you're doing before we kind of jump into your specialty. Go ahead and share a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, sure. I am a Midwesterner. I grew up in northern Wisconsin, basically Canada. My mom's actually Canadian. So I grew up the daughter of a college basketball coach. I grew up playing sports. I played college volleyball. I love to travel. I've lived overseas a couple times in England and the Netherlands, and I've done a few different things. My degree's in education. And then I landed in what I do now, which is coaching moms. So I've been a little bit all over doing a lot of different things. And I'm getting married in 2 weeks. So that's probably the most current exciting thing that's happening.
All right, there we go. So now I have to ask this because we absolutely love, and before we kind of get into more of your specialty, my wife and I, we love to travel as well. And one of the things that we enjoy is food. Oh, big foodie when we travel. So we
Yes.
would say to each other, all right, so if we're going someplace, we want to try different food. So even if it's just an appetizer, just something different. If you could recommend not his favorite, but just a food for someone who's going to travel to England or to the Netherlands or something, what's food you would recommend over there?
Okay. So in the Netherlands in particular, because I spent more time there, there is a little like fried appetizer called bitterballen, which it's kind of like a conglomeration of different things, but because it's fried, it's really good, right?
Yes.
So that I would highly recommend. And Dutch French fries. So they dip their French fries in mayonnaise instead of like ketchup or mustard, like we might hear. And their mayonnaise is like top tier. I mean, like way better than anything that I've ever had in America. And mayonnaise with French fries over there is so good. So
I
snack
can
wise,
attest to this because
yeah.
one of the trips we went to was, I get the order wrong, but we went to London, then we went to Paris, and then we went to Amsterdam.
Yes.
So we spent some time there. So I ate the bitterballen and food, and it is great.
So good.
I'll have to share with the listeners my experience on that when we were searching for the red light district the entire day. It is so funny. It's such a funny story. But nevertheless, I digress. So let's get into what you do. So kind of break down for the listeners who may want to hear this and say, wow, that sounds like something I can use, I need. Kind of break down for them a little bit of what you do, and then we'll kind of delve into some of the specifics of that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in perinatal fitness, which is, like you said at the beginning, perinatal is not a word you often hear unless you're a mom or in the mom space. So perinatal just has to do with anything from pregnancy all the way through delivery and postpartum. So I coach women all the way through all those different stages. I find that the body changes a lot during pregnancy, and women end up not really knowing what's going on or what they're feeling. So I coach them through all those changes that are going on in their body, specifically related to fitness. So things like diastasis recti, which is really like kind of a hot topic with moms, incontinence. So I say this all the time, just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. So in mom groups, once you have a baby, it's very like, oh, well, now you're mom, so you're going to pee your pants every time you sneeze or laugh or cough. That's common, but it's not normal. So I address really common issues that lead to things like incontinence, peeing when you laugh or sneeze, and just help women really navigate the changes in their bodies and then use fitness to help themselves feel better and gain their confidence back.
I absolutely love it. And this is what I really love doing about this, because I would have listeners who would write in, and I love engaging with my listeners and asking questions. And some of them started to ask me, like, hey, you're a guy. Why are you having all these women's subjects? And I said, it doesn't matter for me who it is. I just want to get information out
Yeah.
to anyone that could possibly help. Because
Yeah.
someone right now is probably a mom just reach into pregnancy and they're thinking, I don't know where to reach out for support, right? And
Mhm.
that support could be one of the biggest things. And you
Yes.
mentioned something about you have a group or maybe social media group or anything. Can
Mhm.
you tell some of the listeners if they're listening? Because maybe they're
Yeah.
not in your area, but they could probably be in a group to hear other moms or someone going through that experience.
Definitely. Yeah. So I do a lot on Instagram. So I have a pretty like decent community there, but I also have a private Facebook group that's for women who have either worked with me personally, done some of my programs, or are very interested in working with me. So yeah, we're all there trying to help and support and encourage each other through all the things that moms deal with all the time.
Perfect. And what's the name of the group, just in case someone wants to jump on it?
Yeah, it's just Mom Gets Moxie. That's
Okay.
my business name, Moxie. So it's usually pretty easy to find because there's not very many
Sure.
Moxies out there. So
Gotcha. Mom gets Moxie. MOM kind of. MGM.
MGM,
Yeah.
yep,
So,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, if you need a reminder, just think of like the MGM casinos or
yes,
something. Mom gets
yes,
Moxie. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of that, MGM, if you happen to listen, we're looking for a few sponsorships.
There you go. That would be a great one.
So now a subject that when I was researching this, I thought I hear it often. As a man, we never experience what women experience going through this. But postpartum, I know a lot of ladies want to try to get exercise started again, rebuilding, their body, anything like that. Is that something you can maybe talk to and help someone who's going through that with?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're early postpartum, I always say that slow is fast. So often there's this kind of misunderstanding that once your doctor clears you at your 6 week appointment, you can just like jump right back into CrossFit or running marathons or whatever it is that you did pre pregnancy. But honestly, having a baby is a major event, right? Like if you, this is an extreme example, but if you went and, got hit by a truck, you wouldn't just jump up out of your bed and go running off into the next thing, right? So, postpartum is a very special time in a woman's life that needs to be taken slowly. So, we start with breathing exercises, reconnecting to the core. Because what happens in pregnancy and delivery is your mind actually loses connection with your body. That's why so many women experience like this confusion postpartum because they don't understand why their body's not doing what they're asking it to do. It's not functioning like it was before they had a baby. It's because they've lost that connection. So we spend time on things like breathing and core connection because that helps to reestablish the mind's connection to the body and sets you up for a really successful return to fitness. So we start with the really simple basics. We start with body weight exercises, really light free weights once we get there and build a good baseline for you to return back to fitness. And then eventually you can absolutely get back to CrossFit and marathoning and whatever else you want to do. But slow is fast. We've got to start with those basics before we get back into jumping into all of the extreme forms of exercise.
There you go. So if you're listening to this, like she said, slow is fast, right? And I think that's especially true nowadays because society tells us we've got to do everything fast,
Yes.
instant gratification. If it's not changing in 7 seconds, we my body should be back within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or
Yes.
something. So I
Yes.
really enjoy that. And within
Yeah.
that, do you? And I'm assuming within the groups, it's primarily not primarily, but mostly online. So if someone's not in your area, you should still be able to reach out to MGM. Mom, see, I just
Yeah.
remembered it. Mom gets Moxie
Yeah.
uh, to come in that group and reach out for support because I often say we don't have manuals for anything
Mm-hmm.
in life.
Mm-mm.
Having a baby, love, we have to
Yeah.
figure this out as we go along. So there's
Yeah.
someone right now who's just finding out that they're pregnant. Maybe there's far along and they don't feel like they have the support with friends, families, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Support can come from anyone. It doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be blood or right someone in your area. And I
Yeah.
love that fact that you're giving this opportunity for people to come and join. And
Yeah.
I would assume also within your fitness programs and the things that you're offering, it has to help build confidence for people who are going through that as well. What do you think is some of the biggest confidence builders are? No, just what do you feel helps with people who are going through that?
Yeah. I always say fitness is one of the best ways to build confidence because who doesn't feel confident when they feel really strong and capable? So building a good baseline for fitness and a return to getting back to whatever it is you love. I mean, honestly, even just daily activities, because if moms don't return to fitness, they're going to have things like low back pain and they're going to be tired all the time. Fitness helps with all of those things. So not only is it going to help your physical well-being and help you feel stronger, but physical fitness is also really good for mental health, right? So you're releasing all those like happy, feel-good hormones. So it's improving your physical health and your mental health, which is just going to compound the confidence effect for each woman that's engaging in fitness postpartum.
It sounds so great and interesting. And I think that's why when I was reading somewhere that you help customize plans also for some of your
Mhm.
clients and people who are reaching out to you, so maybe because everyone's different. We always hear the story and,
Yep.
maybe weightlifting for a certain amount of weights may not be for one person, but it
Mhm.
would be for someone else. And it's something that I
Absolutely.
was reading that you help them reach out for their goals. And so
Yeah.
if you have someone that's listening right now, whether it's a lady who's pregnant or is about to be pregnant, getting into it, and I'm gonna also say men, listen
Mhm.
to me, gentlemen, listen to me as a man. If you're listening to this also, and maybe your wife, girlfriend, or someone is just getting pregnant, you are a big part of that. You are
Yes.
such a support to maybe even go help her exercise or bring this up
Mhm.
to her because maybe
Yep.
she won't hear this and she's not listening. So you might say to her, "Hey, honey, I heard a great thing about us maybe doing some exercising to help the baby along or whatever
Yeah.
that is." So
Yeah.
what's some of the customization things that you feel you can reach out to someone who's listening and say, this is why you should come and talk to me and
Yeah.
let's get you in my program?
Yeah. Well, I love what you said about husbands. I actually have a client right now that I'm working with, and her husband works out with her. Like every time she does a workout, he gets up early in the morning with her and works out with her. And I just love that because it's motivating for her. She has accountability, but also that support, right, of her husband helping her through all of her exercise journey. And I just love that. But yes, I do customize programs for moms just because there are so many things that moms can deal with. For instance, in pregnancy, I see a lot of pelvic pain. Sometimes women call it lightning crotch because right where your pelvic bone separates there at the bottom, you have a lot of laxity in your joints because you have to create that laxity for the baby to come out. So that is a good thing, right? We have to let the baby come out, but the laxity in the joints causes a lot of pain. So there are things that I can do to customize exercise to deal with things like pelvic pain, to help support your core from things like Diastasis Recti, which is where your abdominal muscles are separating to allow for the growth of the baby. So yes, it has to do that, but also we want to protect the integrity of the tissue and the muscles and make sure that post baby we're able to rehab and restore those core muscles. So I customize things like that. I do take into consideration if you have any like pre-existing conditions, like health concerns, for instance, I have a client who's got a knee issue. She injured her knee years ago. It means she can't squat a certain way. So we have to customize her routines for that. So anything that you have previously that you're struggling with in pregnancy or even postpartum, I take all that into consideration when planning your workouts and working with you so that you're not just getting a generic, like, here, I hope it works for you, right? I really customize it to make sure that you're successful on your own fitness journey.
That is so interesting. And one of the things I'm going to tell you, as I'm listening to this, I'm absolutely loving it. I am learning so many different words. I'm writing it down. So, because I'm like, I got to go Google what this is. But my favorite that I'm going to use, and I'm going to say this to my wife as soon as she gets home, well, maybe not as soon as she gets home from work, but at some point tonight, I just want to see the reaction on her face. As a matter of fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a video of it, and I'm going to send you the video of it.
Please
when
do.
I use this. This is going to be my new phrase: lightning crotch. That's cool.
I think you have to video it. I would love to see that reaction.
I just want to see her reaction when she hears this word. She's like, "What? What do you mean I have a lightning
What are you talking
crotch?" So, yeah. So within this, right? And I love the idea of you customizing or even just setting up a way for people to do this at home, because I know a lot of people don't want to go to a gym or something
Yeah.
because, they feel uncomfortable, or maybe they can meet at a park or something. But
Yeah.
let's just say if you're reaching out or you're talking to other coaches or fitness trainers or gym owners or something, I think this could be something if they were to hear what you're talking, or if you could reach out to them so they can incorporate things into their gyms or coaching programs. What would you say to a coach or a gym owner or someone, how they can reach you, how they can maybe learn to bring you in so you can maybe consult with them and say this should work? And
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually the second branch of my business. Because my background is in education, I love doing presentations, workshops for gyms, exactly like what you're talking about. Most gym owners, personal trainers, don't have training in pregnancy and postpartum. They don't know how to train pregnant and postpartum clients, which, if you think of the number of women in the United States who've had a baby, that's a very high percentage. So the percentage of women in a gym setting that have had a baby or will have a baby is very high. So it's really quite an important group of people to know about and know how to train. So what I provide for gym owners, Pilates studios, yoga studios, I come in and do workshops for their staff. So I go through a lot of the really common like dysfunctions or issues that women during pregnancy and postpartum struggle with, and then talk them through different strategies to help coach those women through those different things. Because I was talking to a CrossFit owner the other day who she thought that it was bad for women to do squats in pregnancy because the baby would come out while she was squatting. And it's just like, that's not how that works. Like, we want them to squat in pregnancy as long as there's not pain, right? Because that's a really functional movement pattern. So there's just a lot of like fear and kind of uncertainty around that, even with people who know fitness. So I come in, I talk through all of that. I give them strategies for helping those women and like set them up for being able to serve that really special population in their community.
this is where the information comes into play, because we don't know what we don't know. And if we
Right.
don't know that there is a way or there's a urge for this, people,
Mm-hmm.
coaches or owners won't kind of try to make a program for it. And I'm
Yeah.
absolutely loving this. So is there something that I've missed? Is there something that I didn't bring up that you want to just reach out to someone right now to let them know? There's that one person that's maybe walking right now with a stroller, pushing it on their morning walk when they're listening to this, or who just found out that they're pregnant, or a fitness coach who is saying, you know what, I'm looking for something new, what is the final words that you would want to bring to their ears so that they
Yeah.
can reach out to you? Let us know what your final thoughts are, Brittany.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Thank you for this opportunity. With moms, whether pregnant or postpartum, there's a lot of feelings of loneliness and uncertainty. And there are so many resources available to moms, both pregnant and postpartum, to help support and guide you without judgment and without fear mongering or scare tactics. There's a lot of us out here who really want to serve you and help you make the best, most informed decisions for yourself, your body, and your baby. So moms, you're not alone. You've got a lot of support and people who will be on your side and cheer you on. I'm one of those. If I can't help you with whatever you're dealing with, I have a huge network that I can connect you to: mental health therapists, pelvic floor physical therapists, all kinds of services, doulas, to help support you on your journey. So you're not alone. For gym owners, I think the thing I would say is women need to be handled very gently in this period. We don't want to, I see a lot of like preying on moms, like in the fitness space, like with boot camps and like, burn that mommy fat and lose that mom body. We don't want to prey on moms. Like their hormones are still going crazy for months postpartum. So we don't want to throw guilt and shame and all of that stuff at moms. We want to support them to have a really successful return to fitness. And having the tools to do that will really set your gym apart in your community space, because you're going to be serving moms in a really effective way, not preying on them like we often see in that fitness space.
Wow, there it is. There it is. That's the knowledge, right? And that's what I absolutely love. And so I want to thank you first off for coming on and, spreading this word to someone who's listening. And I always tell people, I don't care if it reaches one person and that one person says, wow, that's me, right?
Yes.
Especially in these times. Things are so crazy in the world, and we just need something positive. We need something to make us smile and feel good. So I want to appreciate and thank you for coming on with that there. I'm going to get ready to wrap things up here and get these final housekeeping doing. But I want you to hold on for 1 second because I want to talk to you right afterwards, all right? So
okay, thank you for having me. This was great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, and before we go to, and this will be in the show notes, I know you mentioned the pages, but is there an email or any other thing that you can maybe mention? I'll put them in the show notes for people to be able to see. But for someone who's listening, is there any website or anything you can mention for them?
Absolutely. My website is also Mom Gets Moxie. So almost any social media, well, Instagram, Facebook, those are my main ones. I have my website, Mom Gets Moxie. And then my email is just Brittany. So BRITTANY at momgetsmoxie.com. Feel free to send me an email, message on Instagram or Facebook. I'm usually on there several times throughout the day, so I try to respond pretty quickly, but I would love to chat. So please reach out.
Perfect. Thank you. So 1 second for you, Brittany. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Just One Question with me, Lion Flood, your host. I am excited that you have took the time to listen to this. I sincerely appreciate it and hope everything is going well. And I just want to say, as I always do, remember to keep living while you are alive.
Thank you for listening to Just One Question. I know you enjoyed the show because you made it this far. If you want to hear more, subscribe, share, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review. Now, what's your one question?